Howdy, y'all. Oh man, it has been a long year, but it's over now. Welcome to Budget Hunter. This is my first episode of the year. Really happy to be back. Sorry, it would have took me a little bit of time to film the first episode of the year. I had a lot of partying going on. I hope all of y'all had a Merry Christmas, a Blessed Yule, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you guys celebrated. I hope you guys had a wonderful time. I know I did. I had a lot of fun with my family, my wife's family. Did a lot of partying, a lot of gift opening. So, got some goodies. I'll show you all some of those later on in a couple future episodes. But man, it's good to be back. I'm really happy to be filming the first episode of the year. And as you can see, I'm not actually in my parents' house this time. I'm going to be filming it in my house because my house is actually clean. What we're going to be doing today is, just because we had a bit of a party this past weekend, all of our friends got together, we did a little bit of opening gifts and whatnot, kind of like Christmas, but for friends, so we called it Friendsmas. I wanted to cook them something special, just didn't get around to it, so I'm going to cook it today. What we're going to be doing today is I'm going to take some of that backstrap that I got from that button buck from my last episode, and we're going to be making some honey bourbon backstrap. Now, this is not my recipe. I actually got this from TikTok. I believe the artist's name was moultrie. I'll link their TikTok down in the description below. But it looks delicious. So we're going to go ahead and start putting together everything together and making the marinade. So let me go on ahead and put the phone down, and I'll show you all exactly what we're going to be doing. Now, just to let y'all know, I am going to be doing mine a little bit differently than they do in their video, just because I have some tools that are different that I like to use. So I'm going to be using some different tools, different cooking methods, but the actual recipe part, the ingredients, everything is going to be pretty much the same. So let me go on ahead and start showing y'all how to put the marinade together. So here are the ingredients that we're going to be using for our marinade. We got some mustard, some Worcestershire sauce, soy sauce, bourbon, I'm using Jim Beam Devil's Cut, some honey, garlic, and a little bit of olive oil. So that's about 3/4 cups of olive oil. And to our oil, we're going to add about a cup's worth of honey. That's a lot of honey. So this is going to be a very sweet bourbon backstrap. Then about a cup of bourbon, about a cup of soy sauce, a half a cup of Worcestershire sauce, some Dijon mustard, and last but not least, our garlic. Maybe a little bit more. We're a garlic heavy household, so. And we're gonna whisk all this together, make sure it's the honey's all nice and combined. You should be able to feel it once the honey is incorporated into the rest of the mix. It won't pull on your whisk as much. And then, of course, once you have your mix in there, go on ahead and set your backstrap down into your mixture. Now, she used plastic bags. I'm doing both sides of the backstrap, so I'm cooking the whole backstrap, both the left and right side, plus the tenderloins as well. I figured I'd add that to this. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it in this bowl and make sure that it's covered, and then we're going to let this sit in this marinade for about 2 hours. Alright, so it's been 2 hours, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our meat out of the marinade. We're going to save the marinade because we're going to cook that down into like a sauce later. Another reason why I wanted to put it in the bowl instead of the bag. But we're going to go ahead and take our meat off. We're going to set it on paper towel, and then I'm going to show y'all what I'm going to do different from the recipe. Okay, so I went ahead and I vacuum sealed the backstrap. And the reason why I did that is because I've got this nifty-difty tool called a sous vide machine. If you guys haven't heard of them before, it's basically an amazing way of cooking food where you vacuum seal it in a bag, you place it in this water, the water's not even super hot, but it's at a perfect temperature where it will cook the meat of whatever you're cooking. You can cook fish, you can cook chicken, pork, beef, anything you want in these things, and it'll cook it to a perfect temperature. All you have to do afterwards is just take it out of the bag, sear it to get your color, and then you're done. It will give you a perfect medium rare consistency every time. Every single time. It's a great way of cooking. It's a nice little tool. I don't know how much this one costs because I got this one as a Christmas gift a couple years ago. But I don't imagine they're too expensive. I think they're around the $100 mark range. But it's a great tool. So that's what I'm going to be using because these backstrap aren't the biggest, because it was a small deer. I want to make sure that I get it cooked perfectly without having it cooked all the way. So I'm going to go ahead and get these put in the sous vide. I got the sous vide machine on now. Let me flip this around. Got it set for 135 degrees. So this water is going to warm up real quick, and then as soon as it's done warming to 135 degrees, we're going to set our backstrap in here for about an hour. Even if you guys don't want to use a sous vide machine and you want to cook it the same way that they do it in the recipe, which is just searing it and then putting it in the oven, that's a great way too. I don't really like doing that just because I have an old oven here at my house. It's not super reliable as far as temperature control, and I don't have one of those fancy thermometers that I can just stick inside the meat and it's wireless. I don't have one of those yet. Plan on getting one, but with how much cooking I do, but just haven't got one yet. So the sous vide method, it works perfectly for me. But even if you guys didn't want to, get a sous vide machine, I still recommend vacuum sealing or getting a vacuum sealer. They're also not super expensive, and they work wonders when it comes to sealing food and keeping it food fresh. I can't tell y'all how many times I've lost good food because a bag, like a Ziploc, just wasn't good enough to seal it properly, or it got, it got opened somehow inside the bag. Sometimes when you freeze things, if there's air pressure in there, it'll pop it open. I've tried the water method with Ziploc bags, where you dip your bag in water and let it seal up that way. It's just not as good as an actual vacuum sealer. So I highly recommend y'all get one if y'all are going to be into any sort of hunting and fishing outdoor lifestyle. You can save your vegetables, you can save your meat in it. The bags aren't really that expensive. You can cut them to size to fit whatever you need, and they last a really long time. So I highly recommend you guys get one of those things if that's what you're trying to do. If you want your food to last, if you're trying to get into this lifestyle, I highly recommend you get a vacuum sealer. Alright, so about 30 minutes into the cook time for the venison, I went ahead and I started the potatoes. So I got about 4 or 5 medium-sized potatoes cut up, sliced, diced, and just into cubes, and I just got them in some water waiting for that to boil. As soon as it does, I'll add a little bit of salt, some butter, and we'll get them whipped up and then add the cheese. Then we'll cook the broccoli. Going lazy with the broccoli tonight. I'm just going to do a steam-in bag broccoli, and then I'll add the seasonings later. Alright, so timer just went off for the venison, so now it's time to sear it. Now, I don't have a cast iron skillet. I used to, don't know where it's at, can't find it. So instead, I'm going to be using this griddle. It sears really, really good, so I want a nice sear mark. And we're not trying to cook this anymore, because it is cooked all the way through. We're just trying to get pretty colors. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm also going to be setting up the juice on another pot, because I'm using a griddle instead of a pan. I don't want the juice to slip everywhere, so I'm going to go ahead and simmer that on a different pot. That way it can reduce down and we can have a nice sauce to put over the steak. Whew, I'll tell you what, simmering this marinade on the stove, you can definitely smell the alcohol. It is just cooking off. Whew, it was almost like it was like my nose was directly on a bottle. I just took a deep breath in. Kind of burned my nose a little bit. But here's what it looks like so far. It's got a nice simmer going on to it. Backstrap is browning up very nicely. I already got a couple pieces here. Broccoli is in the microwave. Like I said, wasn't going to do anything fancy with that. So we should be ready to plate here in just a little bit. Alright, y'all. It is done. Its kitchen smells amazing. I went ahead and I put a little bit of seasoning on my broccoli. Got my mashed potatoes and my venison plated. So let me show you guys what it looks like. Look at that beautiful plate. Got the sauce on the venison. The venison's cooked perfectly, medium rare all the way through. Broccoli and my mashed potatoes. And now, of course, it's time for the taste test. So let's see how it tastes. I'm going to grab a piece of venison here. I know what the broccoli and the mashed potatoes are going to taste like, so bottoms up. Okay. Okay, one moment. Out of all the things that I've cooked on this channel so far, I know the burgers were real good. The burgers were real good. But this has got to be the most tender. That was literally melt in my mouth. The season of the flavor of the honey and the bourbon. You can taste the bourbon there towards the very end, but everything just pairs really well together, and it's a very subtly sweet dish. Absolutely fantastic. It came out so well. I gotta get another bite. Hold on. I gotta get another bite here. Another thing is I know it was a young deer, so it didn't have a lot of time to get that gamey flavor, but I mean, there's no trace of gamey in this at all. This just tastes like really good red meat. Awesome dish. Man, guys, I'm super happy to be able to be back in the game today. It's going to change a little bit. Like I said, hunting season is just about over. So we're going to be gearing more towards the gardening side of homesteading and fishing side of hunting and fishing. Probably going to be doing a couple videos here pretty soon about fishing and gardening. I'm going to try to get my garden back up and running this year. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. I've got a little bit of help, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it done in time to do some of the things that I want to do. So probably going to be gearing more towards fishing. But anyway, guys, really appreciate it. Once again, I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday season. I wish you guys the best, and thank you very much for watching Budget Hunter. If you can, please like and subscribe. It definitely helps me, and I definitely do appreciate it. But hope you guys have a great one, and I'll catch you next time.